Okay, let's start the class. Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Okay,
Good
Good
evening.
evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
so it's the fifth week. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about. We have several topics for this evening. Okay, the first I'm going to talk a very simple thing first. Okay, about attention, learning growth, situational awareness, and also the workload. Okay, so let's start with first thing. Okay, I know we have learned before, you know what, about the attention, right? We have basically that three different attentions. Okay, three types of attention. Okay, the first one is actually the selective attention. The second, we call it the divided attention, and also we have the third one is actually focused attention. Yes, we have learned about this one long time ago when we were in the BS, you know, in the cognitive ergonomics, or either just in ergonomics class we learn also about attention. Okay, so when we come about attention, selective attention, we look at this one. See, we monitor several sources to perform just a single task. Okay, for example, like a pilot in here, we monitor so many different indicators in here, and actually you select or like you perform one single task. Okay, divided attention. Okay, for example, like look at this one. When you have to perform two or several tasks simultaneously. Okay, usually like a driving, you know what, driving is actually like you have to do divided attention, you know, for so many it's usually like when you drive, it's actually like you will do a divided attention. And the final one is actually just focused attention. Now when it comes, okay, for example, when you study, and then may I ask, do you when you study, do you listen to the music, Gumasing?
When I study, I don't listen to the music. But when I encode something, I listen to
Mhm.
music. But when I need to memorize, I
No.
don't listen to any, yeah.
Oh, really?
It distracts me.
Okay. Okay. What about Boris? When is how you study? Because now you have to study again in the PhD. So how you study?
Sir, while reading or if I need to analyze something, I
Mhm.
need to turn off my all my devices. I mean, I don't watch movies.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to music. But usually, when I encode or when I just need to format something, usually I try to watch a movie. So, but if I need to concentrate, I need to turn off all my devices.
Okay. Okay. So okay, that's how you study. Okay. What about Maela? When you study?
Mine is almost similar. For example, when I'm writing journals, I
Uh-huh.
would usually play musics as well.
Wait,
But
what kind
if
of music?
ever
What kind of music?
Korean, K-pop, something like
Really? Can you write when you hear
that.
K-pop? Really?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
not the
Interesting.
K-pop type of, let's say, the rock ones or those
Okay,
with
okay.
fast tempo.
Is
Just
it?
the very ballad one.
Oh, okay, the ballet one. Oh, but
Mhm.
there's someone who, I mean, someone sings, right? It's not instrumental, right?
Yes,
It's not piano
yes,
version, right?
yes.
Okay, okay, okay. What about
But
Anthony? Okay, okay.
mhm.
But what?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, sorry. But when it comes to, let's say, I'll have to compute something or I have to memorize as well, I won't listen to any musics.
Okay, okay. What about Anthony?
Sir, if I need to analyze something, I do focus attention. But if I'm just doing a typing like sample time typing something, I can um I can listen to music
Okay,
and the
so
divided attention.
okay, so let me tell you one thing that perhaps it works for everyone, you know, because when I, when I would like to, when everything is actually too quiet, you know, I usually feel, for me, okay, when it's too quiet, when it will be so focused, attention in here, but when it's too quiet, I will fall asleep. Usually, for me, I will feel sleepy. For me, but if I hear some kind of like music with someone sings with a singer, I would like to say I also cannot concentrate, when someone sings because I always go to the, to the music because I will go to divided attention, for that one. And usually that's the thing that I don't want to do. So the thing that makes me focus and but at the same time it's like not that sleepy. Okay, focus and not that sleepy. It's actually I listen to something like usually I listen YouTube, but I type it like piano cafe rain. So it's like you can kind of hear like a sprinkle rain with the ambience of the coffee shops. That's all. Basically, that's the I always listen that kind of music just to make me stay alert. Basically, there are some studies, talk about the music, but we need to have several equipment. Okay, for example, the EEG, and then the heart rate, also the skin conductance. Okay, but don't worry, I already request those equipment. So hopefully, after this pandemic, we will get that. It's not that expensive actually. Okay. Wow. Gene Rex is here. Okay, it's actually I went to one. I would like to say it's actually event. It was in I just started I mean, it was my third day in the Philippines, and I joined this. I would say that it was in May 2019. Yes. So when I see this, you know what? When I see this table with a chair, and this is actually the former dean. Me and him, it's like we went there, and I was like, hey, you know what? Can you try? You know what? When you sit there, but if you sit here, do you know what will happen? Uh, I'm talking about the attention. But when you have to work and you have to cycle at the same time, what will you do with your work? Mom Boris, do you want to try? Mom Boris, you want to try?
Cycling and working, sir.
Yes.
Depending on the kind of work, sir. Probably
Or
if I just
journals?
need if
No.
probably when I just read, sir, more or less I can
Okay.
do cycling and reading. But if I need to analyze something like a deeper analysis or comprehension for math problems, I'm not sure if I can do that, sir.
But okay.
Ayun.
Okay. But anyway, Mom Gumasting, look at this one. There is no back support, in this one. But how can
Yes.
yeah, the first thing that I comment about this one is actually, hey, you know what? No back support. You know what? That one. Yes, it looks so maganda. It's actually portable and so on. But when you try, you know what? Why you feel like it's so tiring because the first one there's no back support. That's the thing that I
And
don't like.
the seat pan is too
Yes,
small.
yes. It's too small. But I'm looking, and then when I asked him like, can you work? Yeah, I cannot work at something like this one because it's actually the defined attention. Perhaps that's quite. I would like to say the problem if you really try to combine work and then work out at the same time, work and work out, but it does not work sometimes. Sometimes. Okay, and this is actually like some other things, okay, that I could see during the show. Okay, this is actually that the chair. It's actually you try to move the person. Okay, like it can it can work, but you can actually move to the left, to the right, and so on. But even so, for me, the same thing. There's no back support in here, and then of course it's the divided attention because you have to make it. How we say that? Stable the balance. Can you imagine? Like it's actually unstable, mom. Mom, gumasing. When you sit here, it's actually unstable.
Yeah.
It's unstable. So it will
Because
move.
the base is too small.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
unstable. So
It
when I
will
see
cause
this one,
accident.
yeah, that's why when I see this one, is this ergo product or what? I'm thinking like, okay, you know what? Is this ergo product? I don't need this one, like and the same thing with this one, like oh, this is it's like a stand, but I do not really need that one, because when you have the chair, your chair is adjustable. Why I have to make the table adjustable? Because it will make extra cost for me for that one. So I usually do not do this one. Okay. This is actually a very nice hierarchical process of perception of the visual word word. Okay. So we actually have top down and bottom up. Okay, top down and actually the bottom up. Okay, at the beginning. Okay, when we were kids. Okay, if you make it like if you would like to make it like of the stimulus. Okay, and then after the stimulus, you can see actually the first one in here. We break it down into the features. Okay, the same thing with my ally is doing about icon. Okay, if you would like to break it down, into the feature of the icon, you have to analyze it. You can analyze the color, you can analyze the format, you can analyze the size, you can analyze the word, and so on. Okay, but here is actually about the feature of the word itself. Okay, now this type of study, I would like to I would like to conduct this study with using the how you call that, abacada. Is it correct, ma'am? The Filipino original.
Yes.
Yes.
Alphabet, syllabus. Yeah, syllables.
Yes. That one is actually like it's very unique because so many researchers actually try to do into the feature analysis, especially in Mandarin. How say that? Because in a Mandarin, you can format the word into several different styles. Okay, and they would like to see how the human perception of using those different styles. Okay, the same thing when I see this one, I'm thinking like, wow, when I came to the Philippines, oh, you also have that one, like the original how say that works from the Philippines, that perhaps that we can actually like use that kind of study. Just actually up to you. Later on we can combine that one with the fancy engineering. Okay, but anyway, this one, we see the feature. Okay, these are the feature, okay, of this in our work. Okay, and then we can see what kind of a letter we can combine from here. And then as you can see that there is a letter analysis, then we can have the word analysis. Okay, for word one or word and so on, but eventually what we have to perceive is actually the word. But anyway, the process is actually like there are two processes in here that I would like to say, the bottom up and then the top down. Okay, for example, at the beginning we learn it's actually bottom up, of course, when we were kids. But when we already know at a certain point, it will be the top down. For example, this one, for word one or word, we only analyze which one, only this one. The rest, what there, no such word kind of exists. So when you say like no such word kind of exists, it's actually the top down process. Okay, but at the beginning when we were a kid, it's actually the bottom up process. Now here it comes. When you see, okay, when you see a certain new, I would like to say a new words. Okay, for example, when I see avocado, okay, at the beginning, it will be a bottom up process. When I see that one, I don't know. I cannot recognize that one. What's the meaning of that one? So it will be the bottom up process, and I will recognize actually like the feature. Okay, the feature of the avocado. Okay, and then not just the feature of avocado. Then actually we will go to the after the stimuli. Okay, I will go to the feature of the stimuli. It will be to the letters itself, and after the letters, we will be the words. Okay, so that is the way we learn about the visual perception of the hierarchical process of when we see about the word of word. Okay, so it's going to be bottom up and the top down. So later on, if we would like to conduct a study about this one, we can do, I would like to say, for example, you can break it down to several different features. For example, the A, B, C, D, E, the avocado, like they have several different features. Then from those features, okay, we can break it down into the feature itself. Later on, we can have the feature analysis of those avocado. Okay, I can show you one paper that actually break it down into the I would say the Chinese characters. Okay, it's very interesting paper that later on you can see that you can see actually that the word itself, it's actually, it has the stroke, the feature of the word, okay. For example, this one, this is actually, we can see the top down and bottom up. Of course, this is the top down, but we can see the top down and bottom up process. Okay, when if you use the bottom up process, okay, when you see these two, okay, it will be the same. This one will be the same. But why you can recognize that one is actually because of the top-down process. Okay, the same with when we do the avocado later on. If you really would like to conduct that kind of study, later on, although those look so similar. Okay, those two look so similar, but because you use the top-down process, okay, then it's actually quite different. Okay, but here let's see the baby. Okay, when the baby see these two, he or she will not be able to recognize the difference, because usually when you're still a baby, it's actually the bottom up process. That's the first thing, like you really see that latter. Okay, so when you can recognize that one, then it's actually that it's a top down process. Okay, when you really see the difference between these two. Okay, this one is actually easy. Okay, I will start with from the easy one. Now we go to the more difficult one. Okay. More difficult, it's actually about the learning curve. Okay. So what is learning curve? Okay, there and why, if you do some kind of like experiment, for example, that the Maela, especially for the experimental cognitive ergonomics, learning curve is actually very crucial. That learning curve is actually very crucial. Or either up to you. You can have a visual detection test, or either, for example, tapping tests, Fitts law tests. Learning curve is actually like the thing that you don't want to don't want to be involved in a study. Okay, but there are some studies that actually usually they want to see the learning curve, because they really want to see the learning curve. So what they do, they actually do one exactly the same task, but they try to measure it in several different times. Okay, you exactly do the same task, and you would like to see how much time that you really need to accomplish or to finish one task. Okay. So it is actually, look at this one. Okay, time to produce a unit decrease as more units are produced. So what does that mean? Okay, for example, at the beginning, when you learn how to utilize the what AMOS for your structural equation modeling, for example, okay, using one exactly the same model, you need to construct one model at the beginning. You know what? It takes longer time. Okay, then the second, if you try to repeat it again, you will have what? You will have a faster time. Okay, like the faster time. And so on, and the next one, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth, and so on. Okay, then, okay, then what? Then it will be like this one, and you can see some kind of like exponential graph, okay, of the time to accomplish for a certain task, but it cannot be zero. So because it's impossible zero, how can you finish one task? Okay, so later on, it would be like a long, I would say, like exponential curve. Okay, and this learning curve typically follow a negative exponential distribution. See, they also say like that one. Okay, and then later on we can see like time saving per unit decrease over time. Okay, so why using this one is actually quite important for users. Okay, for example, we conduct a study about Blackboard. Okay, let's say about the Blackboard, and you would like to I would like to say the measure, the time to accomplish a certain task. And let's say you define how many tasks. Let's say you define 10 tasks. You have 10. Usually for a study that utilizes a learning curve, it's very rare to only have one task. Very, very rare. Usually 5, 6, 6 different tasks. And you would like to see for one task, I don't know, 30 trials, 40 trials. Usually you really can see that the graph is actually quite beautiful. Okay, from the first task until the last task. Okay, but the good thing is up to you. You would like to split, okay, from the novice. I was like from the novice participants, or like, and more, I would like to say novice in experience, or like novice, or like, for example, like driving and non-driving. So something like that one. You split between those two, and let's see what will happen with the learning curve. Okay. Usually for someone who has advanced, of course, it's it's what? It's already somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in here. But if you really would like to see between the accomplished time between the first and the 30-second, okay, perhaps the first and the 30 seconds, you know what? It's kind of flat for a it's already flat at the beginning, so it's kind of like flat. Okay, but for the novice user, okay, for the novice, at a certain point it could reach the advanced. Okay, and then you can see it's actually like the gradient in here is actually quite steep. Okay, so you can later on analyze like the graph between the novice and also the advanced participants is actually quite different by the nature. Okay, and then later on you can actually connect with what with the combine it with the mental workload. I can show you one study that utilized learning curve combined with a mental workload. It's actually quite Wow, you study. It's actually quite wow. And 5 different tasks. Yeah, I think 5 different tasks. And they actually try to see very unique behavior between a novice, I would like to say driver, and also the advanced drivers. Okay, advanced drivers. Okay, so this is actually like an example, okay, of the learning curve. Okay, so later on you can see, the on a certain point, what someone will be a professional. So on a certain point, let's say, for example, me with Ma'am Gumasing, or me with Ma'am Bores, me with Maela, you know what? For example, how later on, you know what? All of you will have exactly the same time when you to finish. I mean, all of you to run one model in half. We will have the same time later on. For example, I construct one model, how long? 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, perhaps. You know what? Soon you will be like that one because of this learning curve. Okay, because of this learning curve. At the beginning, yes, of course, it's going to be difficult like this one. The same later on in the data mining, you will study Python. At the beginning, it was kind of like, wow, it's so difficult and so on. But after second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and so on, it's not going to be, that long, okay, for running that one. And then again, when we know about the learning curve, the same with us when you just started your doctoral degree, perhaps, at the beginning when you finish one paper, I don't know how long is that one. Everybody will have a different, time, perhaps it's not time in here, perhaps days, okay, how many days up, when you finish one manuscript, up to you. 30 days, can be less than 30 days, at the beginning, but of course it also depends on the topic, okay, but for one very close topic, let's say use SEM, okay, the same, quite close, you can use SEM. Perhaps later on the days when you finish your first paper, and when you finish the second paper, the third paper, it's actually quite, you can see it's actually, a learning curve, okay. Anyway, Ma'am Gumasing, have you tried to conduct a study using learning curve?
Experimenting methods.
Experimenting methods.
Yes.
What
The
you
pinboard
use?
assembly.
Okay, the
the
paper
pinboard,
assembly.
Yeah.
That's all.
And also
that's
the
it.
paper, the origami. Because just an
Origami.
experiment. So yeah, origami. So I let my students watch a paper making origami for the first, and they
And then
have to do it for the first time.
okay, and you count.
Yeah,
Like,
they
yeah.
they have to
Yeah.
to repeat it for several times to measure the
Okay.
learning curve.
Okay,
Yeah.
but is there? I would like to say, like, outside of the that one, especially for a pure experiment, like you
No,
conduct a study
none.
using a learning curve. No, not
None.
yet. At this point, actually, I'm thinking about so many things for the learning curve, at this one, but yeah, it's pandemic, I cannot do that. For example, like mom, can you actually, I'm curious, for someone to drive jeepney. I really would like to have a how is it that, jeepney parking, and then you go to the jeepney, to one here, like, quite mountainary area, and then like a jeepney with so many things that we can do actually with jeepney and tricycle. So
And each right?
yeah, and it's right. I would like to say for the driver, I would like to say experienced driver and a non-experienced driver, especially for the parking and so on. Hey, it's different, with the e-trike. It's not that easy for e-trike.
Yes.
Yeah, when I see that one, I'm kind of like, what? This is actually quite different, okay, with what I've learned. So if we have the access, to do that, because doing something like parking for a car, or like it's quite common. But can you imagine if you are just, if you are in the, usually, the logistic in the army, in the military, okay, they actually tried, I mean, the new, I would like to say, recruits in the military, when they learn about how to use how to drive the truck and so on, you can see it's actually the learning curve is so obvious, like the learning curve, it's really obvious. So that's why, like, it's really I mean, for me, I really would like to conduct that kind of study, but with the e-trike, and then with the jeepney, actually, like, for example, I book one place, like, I book one place, I book one jeepney for one day. I recruit several, you know people to really, for example, parking, okay, then how long you really from the start until you park, actually I count the time, okay, and then not just about that, but also we can add several different tasks, okay, because the parking is just one task. We can add several different tasks to if you can actually see for one task, another task, the see of the you can see actually the learning curve, what will happen with the learning curve. Then another one, we can actually measure the mental workload. That's why I would like to combine the learning curve together with the mental workload. Okay, we can count using NASA TLX, and I think I already explained about that one before, but I think for today is actually for the formal class about the NASA TLX. Okay, the thing that we can do for the mental workload. So you can actually measure the mental workload from the beginning and then at the end. Let's see what will happen with the mental workload from the beginning and then also at the end. Okay. So later on, let's see. If you conduct one study, for example, how I wish I could, force everyone in the PhD program to what? To count the mental workload on the PhD of the first year. Mental workload. Perhaps, you know what, if it's like learning stuff like this one, perhaps the first one is actually quite high. And then the final one would be like, oh yeah, okay, it's just a PhD. I don't know. Will you think like that one? Maela? Probably.
Sorry.
No, if I measure about the, let's say the learning curve, okay, for example, this learning curve, for example, how many days you finish your paper, okay, the first year, the second year, and the third year, or like the first paper, the second paper, the third paper, the fourth, and then until the 16th and so on, okay, the time that you need to do for doing the mental workload, okay, sorry, for doing one paper, for finishing one paper, okay, from the scratch to the start paper. Let's say the first paper, it takes 1,000 days, the second paper, 8,000 days. Sorry, that's how it's okay. One paper is actually 1,000. No, it's like 1,000 days. 1,000 days, how long? It's like 3 months. Okay, 1,000 days. And then 8,000. 1,000 days, not one. It's not 1,000 days.
100 days. 100 days for 3 months.
Okay, let's say 100 days to
Then,
finish
yeah,
one
then
paper,
80,
and then 80,
80 days.
let's say
Yeah,
80
60
days, 60 days, and then 40 days, for finishing for one paper. Okay, you can conduct, the mental workload, the beginning and then at the end, and try to compare whether there's a significant difference between the beginning and also the end for the mental workload. So, Maela, if I count your first mental workload and your last mental workload, what about now when you write paper? Is it still high, the mental workload, you think?
No, I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle, right? Yeah, kind of.
Mm.
What about Boris? Perhaps Boris still high.
Sir, 100 times 100, 100 hours.
Yeah.
I have I think, slowest pace right now.
Okay, perhaps at the beginning, but I think after that one you can have some kind of like learning curve. What about that, Ma'am Gumasing? I think the time you finish for the paper, one paper to the second paper, I think will be much faster. The second, the third, the fourth.
Yeah, for comparing from the previous one, the first one.
Yes, I think. Yeah.
It took me 3 months. The sustainability paper, it took me 3 months to write that. But
So,
for the Typhoon Codson, just a week.
yes, it's getting like
Yeah.
it's getting there. Once you know how to write a paper, you know what? You will know it's just spending another time. I would like to say like another time. Later on, it will be. If I count the days, you know what? But I don't know. Now perhaps my curve is going up again, Mom. Mom Gubasing, my curve for finishing one paper, it goes up.
Lack of practice.
Perhaps no, mental breakdown.
Too many papers.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start.
Overload.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
overload, like really overload at this point. Okay. Okay. Ma'am Gubasing, did you also explain about situational awareness in the class?
Can't remember. No, I think no.
Yeah, it's okay. It's actually just very simple. Okay, for the situational awareness. Okay. It's actually we here. There are we later on there are some steps for the situational awareness. From the term, it's actually very clear. Okay, situation and you're kind of aware. So there is some kind of like what? Some kind of like prediction later on. Look at that one. The perception of environment elements with respect to time or space, the comprehension of the meaning, and the project of blah, 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 and so on. Basically, you know what? For situational awareness, okay? Oh, it's actually cutting here, okay? So you will actually try to see what is actually happening, okay, around you based on based on you gather the information and you kind of like predict what will happen. So, but situational awareness, okay, in here is actually quite important. For you know, when you see like something like this one, okay, nowadays, okay, if you see something like this one, what what's in your mind, Ma'am Gubasti?
What's that? Sorry.
You know, if you see something like
Framework?
yes, this is SEM. Some kind of
Yes, a
you know,
frame. Yeah.
yeah, some kind of okay. So basically, okay, some people try to really see whether is it really like this one, okay, and then based on several different questionnaires. But I'm not into this direction at this point. You know what? Because I have to read some papers from psychology. But basically, okay, the situation awareness is actually consists of three, okay, three levels. Okay, the first is actually this one, okay, perception of elements in current situation. And the second, comprehension of current situation and a project of future status. But here, you know, like these three levels, okay, for me, okay, for me and myself, you know what, it will be one. I always keep, you know, has a, I always have a debate with some cognitive ergo researchers. I'm like, yeah, we kind of like have perception, but usually, you know, perception, and then we kind of, oh yeah, I think I will do this, and then we project the future status. But usually, you know what, that those three, I would like to say it's not, it's merged, you know, into one for me, you know. But when you read the book, it's always like, oh yeah, situation will always like this and that one, okay, how you make a decision and you perform an action and so on, okay. But anyway, why situational awareness is actually quite important actually for nowadays. There is another one, it's actually vigilance, okay. Some studies related about the vigilance. uh well, let me show it to you next week, some study about the vigilance, okay. Okay, so basically these are consists of these, you know, three levels, okay, the perceptions, and then perceptions, comprehension, and also projections, okay. Projections, for I would like to say that what will actually you kind of predict something, okay. The first in here, you know, for the perception, look at this one. They actually, we kind of like identify, you know, the situation around you, and you will see the object, the events, the people in the system, environments, and so on, and their current states, okay, the locations, conditions, and also modes and actions, okay. So when you know, at your current situation, okay, you are kind of have some kind of like perception of your surroundings. And the next one is actually what we call the comprehension, okay. Look at this one. This is actually synthesis level elements through the process of pattern recognition, interpretation, and evaluation. So that's why, okay, when we talk about some papers that utilize the situational that, you know, show, I mean, that utilize, I would like to say that focus on situational awareness, okay, nowadays they actually combine that with the artificial neural network, okay. Because this one, they have a pattern recognition, okay. For example, traffic comprehension. Have you heard about that one, Maela? Traffic comprehension.
No, not yet.
No traffic comprehension. Okay, then I think I have to explain also about that one, about the traffic comprehension. Okay. Next, it's just the final one is actually we kind of predict what will happen in the future. Okay, so for example, when you see crack on the building, okay, and then you can have the situational awareness. Okay, for example, Anthony Baylor, your study. Okay, for example, crack on the building or crack on the rooftop. Okay, you can have some kind of a perception, and you kind of like think to evaluate. You kind of like see a project what will happen. Perhaps it will fall, or it will, yeah, it will just fall, you know, if you see a fall on the surface, okay. So don't worry about this one, unsafe act, unsafe conditions, you know, but this one I will cover during the week when we talk about the accident analysis and preventions, okay. This one, look, think, and act. Look, think, and act. So you look, you think and act. So this is actually the three things that I like when we talk about the situational awareness, because memorizing those things for me is actually quite strange. Okay, so in the past, my professors say like, hey, it's just look, think, and act. So oh, okay, so as simple as that one for the situational awareness. Okay, now let me go with the last one about the workload. Okay, then this is actually perhaps some of you quite new about, especially about the NASA TLX. Okay, about the workload. Okay, in here that I would like to talk is actually about the mental workload. Okay, for example, when you write one paper and when you do one exam, Ma'am Boris, which one you think has a higher mental workload?
Doing papers, sir. Working on my paper. Definitely.
Yeah, right. It's like, yeah, for example, do one paper or do 5 final exams. Perhaps some students will feel like, oh yeah, just do 5 final exams. It's fine because of what? Because the mental workload of the doing one paper is so high. It's so time demanding. It's so temporal demand is actually quite high. The effort is high and so on. Okay, Ma'am Gumasing, what do you think? Final exam or
Of course, journal paper. I think no one no work can
yes.
compete with journal writing.
What about
It's very
what about
exhausting.
yeah? What about mental workload of the oral defense and the write one paper?
My oral defense.
No. Yeah. If you check, okay, right? Let's say write thesis or oral defense. You think which one it has the higher mental workload?
I think writing paper
I
still.
agree. I agree. What
Yeah.
about you? What about you, Maela? Maela?
Writing paper as well, because it takes a lot of time to
Yes.
accomplish rather than preparing for oral presentation.
Yes, preparing for oral presentations, especially for, let's say, Ma'am Boris, Ma'am Gumasing, and I, what three of us, we really get used to what's presenting in a conference. Yeah, right, Ma'am Gumasing. I'm like, Ma'am Gumasing, you have what do you think after the presentation? I think usually after the presentation is okay. Let's eat after the conference.
Yeah.
Let's eat, take pictures.
And travel.
In
Go to
travel,
tourist spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
go to tourist spots, usually like that one. But some of the MS students, oh my god, mom, some of the MS students, they kind of like, sir, I don't know what to do. It's like, oh, okay, it's just yeah, because it was their first time actually. That's why the mental workload perhaps was kind of high. Okay, so okay, in mental workload, there are several, I would like to say, measures in mental workload. But now there is one actually very, I would like to say, famous, okay, for measuring the mental workload. And usually for ergo people, later on, usually we use the NASA TLX. Okay, it's like AHP. When you, I would like to say, AHP and NASA TLX, they have exactly the same concept. Okay, but the dimension that they use is the ergo dimensions. Okay, so basically as simple as that one. And then everyone has the different, it's actually the individual, because usually for the AHP it's actually decided, the weighting actually decided by the expert. But for NASA TLX, the difference is actually the weighting is actually weighted by the subject itself. Yeah, the subject himself or herself. Okay, so basically that's the concept of the NASA TLX. Okay, now for example, just like what we said before, writing paper or final exam, written final exam, writing paper or oral exam. So that's actually like you can see somehow it's like, oh, it's so difficult, because you can see now it's actually the mental workload is actually quite high. Okay, now it's okay. We will talk about information processing next week. Okay, but it's just you know what, just like a small chit chat, just like this class today. I started with attention, started with situational awareness, learning curve. Okay, but this is actually the serious one. Okay, the NASA TLX. Okay, how the weighting of the NASA TLX. Okay, it's actually okay for NASA TLX. Okay, it consists of these 6 dimensions. There are 6. I would like say 6 dimensions. Okay, mental demand, the physical demand, the temporal demand, the effort, the performance, and also the frustrations. Okay, this is actually like the way. You know what? For these 6 dimensions, and for doing for one task. Okay, one task. You know, one person has their own value for doing the do something, and you actually will measure the mental workload. Okay, now if we have 6 in here, and for the weighting, it's actually we do some kind of what we call the pairwise. It's just like exactly like AHP, or like the pairwise comparison. But in here, you have to choose, or actually the participants need to, you know, to be, all the participants, will be forced to answer, either choose A or choose B. They will be forced to answer, to make a decision. Okay. So, for example, this one: physical demand or mental demand, temporal demand or mental demand. And then this one, OP is actually the performance, okay, or the mental demand, frustration or mental demand, effort or the mental demand, and so on. Okay, so later on, there's always, because they have 6. Okay, later on you will see the 15 pairs, of the the comparison, and then from this 15, okay, you kind of count how many actually it be selected. For example, MD in here, like, selected 3 times. Physical demand is like 0. Temporal demand is very high, 5. Perhaps for me right now, I have a high temporal demand because so many deadlines. I don't know what to do, so many deadlines. Because for me, it's not for me, like, okay, mental demand is kind of okay, it's high mental demand. Physical demand, not really. Okay. Effort is, I would like to say, high, performance high. But for me, perhaps if I have to choose between temporal demand and effort, I think temporal demand is actually quite scary for me. Performance or temporal demand is so scary. Frustration, temporal demand. For me, temporal demand is actually very scary. Okay, for me. For example, okay, performance being selected only once, frustration 3 times, and then this one 15. Okay, then how to measure for one participant? Okay, the NASA TLX for one participant doing one task. Okay, so for doing one task, okay, not just giving the weighting, but the person himself. Okay, the person himself, he or she needs to answer. The range in here. It's actually range from 0 to 100. Hey, they have to measure. So later on, the rating will be times the weight. So you got the final product. And from that final product, you got the sum, right? The sum from this one. But later on, from 490, it will be divided by 15, because this 15 is actually from this 15. Okay. And you got the final one. This is actually the final score of the mental workload for one person doing one task. Okay, so that's why, later on, when you have, let's say, I don't know, usually when I read a paper that utilize the NASA TLX, it depends. Sometimes they collect many respondents, but for me, many respondents doing so many tasks is so difficult. Like, it's so time consuming. Same thing with the writing the paper. It's so time consuming for the NASA TLX. Okay, and then I don't know, Maela, if you really would like to combine the icon recognition with the NASA TLX, but like to see whether the effect of format will have the effect of the mental workload. If you can prove that one, then it will be so outstanding. But I don't know.
Exactly.
But if you do can stay together with mental workload, oh, the workload will be so high. I cannot
Yes.
imagine. I cannot imagine, like, you do NASA TLX. Can you imagine doing one person is like this complicated?
Mhm.
This is for one person, only for one person
Mhm.
and for one task. Let's say you have one task 30, let's say one task 20, you got 20 data for that. So, but you have 2 tasks, it will be 40. And then not
Mhm.
just about that, for getting this data, it takes a lot of hard work like this one. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah. But I
So
don't know,
each
what?
participant really need to answer all questions.
Not just each, but for each participant and each task. For each
Mm-hmm.
task. For example,
Okay.
you have 2 different tasks. Okay, then it should be,
Mhm.
2 tasks. If it's just only one and one task, so it really depends on how many tasks you do for your
Mhm.
study. Okay, for your NASA TLX. Okay, but NASA TLX is actually like what I mentioned before. It can be combined with the learning curve. Okay, so in the learning curve, you can see actually there's the beginning, the learning curve, and then after, before and after. Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's actually quite interesting for someone if you really would like to make sure you're not at the Alex. Ma'am Gumasing, have you tried to use this one before? Not really. Yes. No.
Yes. The nasa Alex, yes.
Okay. And then for what kind of Okay.
Measuring the academic stress of students
okay, actually,
during this online class.
okay. So measuring that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I see the average score? How many? Sorry, how many
Wait.
participants?
I think less than 100. It's just my
Oh.
research study of my Ergo 2 class
Oh,
last term.
it's always less than 100, ma'am. It's always
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's always less
Wait.
100.
Wait. Let me check the.
But how many participants you do and how you do the weighting? Because this one.
Wait. Yeah. The weighting. We asked the respondents to choose between the importance between the two. Yeah.
But how did you calculate that one? Did you calculate that one manually?
Based on average. No, average. We average it. Not individually. Wait.
Oh,
Let me
that's why.
check. Yeah.
No. What do you mean with average?
Wait.
What do you mean with average one? I don't get it. The average of
Oh, wait. Let me open the file. Yeah.
you can share your
This
screen.
one. Yes.
Sir Yogi, question.
Yes.
What about the weights, sir? How do you set up the weights?
Oh, you decided. The participants decide the weight, ma'am.
Okay. So not from RL, so just
Yes,
based
no.
from their perception?
No, yeah, no. So essentially each participant has their own. So that's
this
what I've
one,
mentioned
this one.
before. So that's what I've mentioned before. It's actually different from the AHP, ma'am. Because for example, AHP is actually from the a study or reference and so on that you cite that one. But
Yes.
it's actually for each participant, they decide their own
Weights, their own weights.
yes, their own weights for one certain task. So that's the different, little bit the different with the one with but AHP. But the concept is the same, diba? The concept. It's like an AHP.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly like AHP. Yeah. So, ma'am, how did you come up with this one, ma'am Gumasing?
Yeah, that's from 104 respondents. So we asked them to choose between mental versus physical versus temporal.
Like
So
15, like that
there
one?
are 15. Yeah,
15, yes. 15, always 15.
combinations.
Yes, and then?
Yeah, 15. Then we tallied like out of 105, 383.
Oh, so that one? no, 1%.
Yeah. No, not wait.
Wait. Is it per person the mental workload or
Yeah, per person. But
sorry,
then when we compute the mental workload, it's based on the average weights. Based on the average weights now, not the individual weight.
I see.
We should be individual.
Yeah.
Well, luckily I haven't submitted this yet in a conference. So we have to change the results.
It's individual.
Okay. So like for example, based on the total tally, we got 24.5% for the mental workload.
No.
This
You cannot put overall. You cannot put over. Sorry. That's why when it's
so we have to change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. When I sit down, I'm like, this one, no, you cannot. That's why you top it all, and then you actually just times the weight with the answer of the all like that.
Yeah. So it's really individual. The weight of an individual responded. Okay.
It should be the individual.
Okay.
For this one. But anyway, since you have the experience, can I ask what kind of platform you use? I mean, just Excel like that, but it will be so many pages. You know what that one?
What do you mean platform?
Okay, for one person, you use the questionnaire, and how do you use, for example, mental demand or physical demand? Okay, you choose physical demand. But what kind of I would say platform, for your questionnaire distribution? You use Google Form? How?
Yes, Google Form, because this is just last term.
Google Form? Okay, how can I
and then
get
just
that?
To select. Like
Okay.
you have to select. Like we have 15 combinations.
Okay, but Oh yeah, but you did not compute. Yeah, that one. Right? How many? How would I say? You did not compute for a one, right? You can't.
Yes. We get the total.
And then in total, it should be individual. Yes, it should be.
Well, luckily I haven't submitted this yet to the
But it's okay.
conference.
Yeah, but it's okay, ma'am. I mean, no, I think no one will. I
Oh,
don't
no.
know. It depends. It depends. If you see super expert cognitive ergo, they will like, wow.
So maybe we'll just hide. We'll just hide the salary of the weights.
And then the tally, I'm kind of like, wow, the tally, wow, how can you get that?
60,500.
And then you can get the weight. Okay. Anyway, how many respondents you got for that one?
104.
That's a lot. Usually for NASA TLX, not that many, but 104 is actually quite a lot. Okay, quite a lot. Okay, so when we go back to the NASA TLX, okay, everyone. Yeah, actually at this point, I'm still thinking like how to make actually like some of my friends from the computer science, they actually developed one nice how you say that, one nice platform to conduct this one. Yeah, for example, let's say Dr. Wira is actually from the computer science, and he's actually quite expert when it comes to the interface development. Okay, for the for the for presenting this one. Let me show you something. The interface. Okay, the interface actually like this one. I think I already showed this one before, right? In the class. So in here, you know what, they in here the interface is actually like measuring. Okay, somehow, this is actually from 0 to 100. Okay, for the for the value. Okay, for the value, let's say. Okay, but this is only for one certain task. Okay, let's say. Okay, let's say up to here. Okay, okay, let's just say, I don't know, let's just put that one. Okay, then there is a pairwise comparison, see, for 1 to 15. Okay, and then later on you can how is that, get the result immediately. See, like this one. This is actually the interface that I got from the how is that, from the someone from computer science. So the one that I do care is actually like the final one, this one, the final of rounded TLX4. Okay, but this is like the concept, the story. It's just like the same thing. You put the rating and you put the weight, and then you also get the final one like this one. Okay, and as it's actually quite powerful for measuring any kind of the mental workload. So yes, it's very very common topic in human factors and economics. Okay, up to here, any questions?
Sir Yogi, sorry.
Uh-huh.
For the weights, what will be the total like sum? Supposedly, usually when we set the weights, we try to get an accumulative 100% or 100 for the weights, right? So,
That one.
how do you set? Yeah, 3, 5, 0, 1.
Oh, that
But
one, ma'am. Okay,
what?
it's actually from the pair,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Let me. Okay, which one again? The weight, right? This one, like
Yes,
3,
sir.
5, 1, 3. From here, ma'am, from the pairwise comparison.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
All right,
So
sorry,
it's
sir.
just accumulated. Yeah. Yeah. So it's 15. It's always. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not about the like it should be equal to 100% if ever.
No.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
All
Like
right.
how many times
Thank you, sir.
if you get selected and then you put this one and times and so on. The final one will be divided by 15.
Okay.
That's all.
So it will be divided by 15.
Yes.
The total sum of the
Yes.
is okay.
Yes.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, but for example, you can compare actually. For example, surgeon A and surgeon B. Okay, for example, let's say both are the same, surgeon, and you can actually compare, for the NASA TLX. Especially, what nowadays people try to talk about mental workload and also the compensation. Okay, whether like is it really, worth, for someone work in the very high mental workload with that salary, nowadays ergo kind of like thinking about into that directions. Okay, so combining a NASA TLX with how we say that, with the price of, with the salary and so on. Okay, so yeah, perhaps we can ask, what the mental workload of the, I don't know, mental workload of people in the register office and mental workload of the secretary of IEMG. What will happen?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I want to measure that one. You know what, Ma'am Gumasing, you want to measure that one? You know, the mental workload of you know what of the professors compared to the mental workload of the office.
Yes. Yes. Or comparing the mental workload of online class versus, the traditional
Yeah,
face-to-face
the
class.
traditional class. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that one with the NASA TLX. Actually, that's very interesting. And yeah, it's simple, right? It's just a ANOVA t-test and so on. Very
Yes,
use, yeah.
yes.
Usually, it's just a very simple statistical analysis. Okay, so any other questions? Myla, is it clear?
No questions for me, Dr. Yogi.
Okay, so you want to do icon with mental workload?
Let's see.
No,
Maybe
I cannot be. Can you imagine for one format of one
yes.
icon, and then you have to
There
mention
would
all
be
of
a lot of questions
yeah, a lot of questions like
already.
that, and then for one format, if you have 5 format, come on, Myla, come on. No,
Maybe
I
no
don't think.
one would answer my
I think no one would
questionnaire.
answer your questionnaire. I'm thinking about that one. I was like, wow, that's very interesting. But now when I'm thinking of it, like, that's not doable. It's impossible, if you combine with the NASA TLX for doing something like usually, okay, for someone doing NASA TLX, it's like something like a learning curve or like comparing between two. Okay, learning curve like before after, that's you can compare the NASA TLX and for example, like that one, Ma'am Kumasik's idea, online versus offline with the mental work. Yeah, that's a very nice, interesting,
Mhm.
topic. But for you, I don't know. That one it's just usually it's too difficult. Yeah. Okay, Ma'am Boris, do you have anything in your idea at this point for something that's at the Alex? Because I know you're very expert at the AHP. So, do you have anything with some kind of idea?
I think, sir, this is used when you want to research about the experiences
Cognitive
of a
ergo.
certain worker.
Yes.
But for HP, it's more of comparison of the performances of the different
Oh
systems,
yeah.
like machines, equipment,
Yeah.
strategies. So I think they have a different use.
Yeah. Yeah, they have different use. Yeah, totally different. But yeah, it's just the idea is the same, but it's actually
Yes, sir.
it's
The
funny.
concept is
The concept
the
is the same.
concepts are the same. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the concept are the same, but yeah, perhaps that way. Okay, but yeah, okay. Anything else, Ma'am Gumasing, you want to conduct, not just offline, online?
Mental workload.
Actually, I would like to. I want to tell. How you say that? Compare jeepney driver versus the pilot.
You're really interested in jeepney drivers, Dr. Yogi.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I'm really interested in jeepney in all aspects.
There are a lot of possible research.
Yeah,
for
either physical, either cognitive, either macro. I really like it. I don't know. I mean, I have so many things when it comes to the jeepney because
Have you experienced riding jeepney in the
yes, once,
Philippines?
only once. I got lost.
That's why
Once.
it's memorable
Were you with,
experience.
sir?
Yeah, once I got lost. And then
Were you with, sir?
actually I was at Fito Cruz.
You
I
just
wanted to go back to
your condo.
City Hall. Yeah, City Hall. I forget. Like
Maybe you didn't say para.
So you
How did
tried
yeah, I
How
say
did you
para.
tried it on your own?
Yeah, I did on my own. It's so funny. At the beginning when let me just enter the jeepney. Like okay, and since I'm inside, and then when someone say bayad po, and I say like, why you give me money? I'm like, I don't need your money. and then everybody laughed. You're kind of like, I was like, I was like, bayad po. I'm like, and I say like, why you give me money? I'm like,
What did they say, sir? What did he tell you?
and they just
you
laughed.
should put it in your pocket?
I didn't know. They just laughed. You know what? They just laughed. And then and I was kind of like, what's wrong? I'm like, I really didn't know. I was like, why do people laugh? And then they're like, oh, where are you from? You know, it's like, oh, okay, you know. And then I tell, okay, so yeah, and they actually teach me. But yet it means like, oh, you transfer the money to the next people. Oh, it's like that one.
Oh,
This time
someone
like, oh,
answered.
it's like that one. Wow, it you know, the passengers, we have a job inside, you know. So I'm thinking like, wow, I also work for this one.
You don't have an idea.
Yeah, because you keep transferring like okay, because I was busy at that one. I didn't know like it went to a very wrong direction, you know, like I don't know. I just try and I feel like I think this and I thought like, oh, I think this jeepney will go to that one. I ended up somewhere. I
I
ended
think
up,
they have
I
a
don't know.
signage, sir.
Yeah, but I did not read. I couldn't read that. That's why it was in the, yeah, I couldn't read that. It was in the middle of the evening, and then I was kind of like, oh my god, I didn't know where am I. So I'm kind of like, I say, and I said, stop here, please.
And it's
I
para.
said, yeah, I'm gonna say, I said stop here. So it's okay. Then okay, I just stopped there, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's the way, you know. I was like, wow, it's very interesting. But I'm thinking like, because I'm looking at the jeepney driver, not just about talking about physical ergo, it's not ergo friendly, the vibration and so on. But I would like to, I was like, how come? You know what? It was, you know, you drive, you memorize the person, you know, like, okay, you start from where, and you can actually count which money, and then like, you actually give the exchange, you know. So I was like, wow, what kind of job is this? I was, and then it's just how much, 10 pesos, only 10 pesos, like what? Only 10 pesos for like you know what, that one, I mean, like quite long. And then I'm thinking so sad. I was like, wow, can you imagine pilot, let's say, okay, pilot somewhere in the middle of the air, but you know, when it's autopilot on, they can sleep. I would like to say they can, you do gossip and so on, you know, but the jeepney cannot, you know, you have to drive, at the same time you have to count the money, not just about that. The worst is actually for me, okay, you have to memorize the person, okay, where you start and actually where you get out, okay, where's your destination, because the longer it is, I think it will be more expensive, okay. So that's why I'm really interested in the jeepney. But now it's actually because of pandemic, so I cannot do that, but I really want to do that actually for the jeepney. You can do that actually, ma'am. For example, ma'am Gumasing, let's say e-trike, you know what, you compare the mental workload of e-trike and actually the jeepney, you know, for the same route, you know, kind of like the
Yeah,
same
okay.
route, for example,
Mm.
you can actually compare, you know, like let's see
Mm.
the mental workload. Because for the e-trike, it's always the same, right? How much was that? 15, 10, 50? I don't know. How much was that e-trike in the Intramuros?
I it depends on the distance. The fare? Are you talking about the fare?
No, the e-trike in the Intramuros. How was that? I think 20. Forget. I think the same price inside the
Yes, sir,
Intramuros.
that's a fair.
20 pesos. 20, it's 20 pesos.
Yeah, 20 pesos. I think around that
Yeah,
number.
fixed,
Yeah,
fixed, yes, yes.
yeah, fixed is always around 20. Okay, it's always 20 pesos. Okay, inside of the Intramuros. Okay, then for the jeepney not from the Intramuros, I think outside of the Intramuros. Okay, sorry, e-trike outside of the Intramuros. How much was that one, ma'am? 50, I think. From
That I'm not sure. The fare outside Intramuros for e-trike,
yes, from I think, yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think around 52 in Ram. Yeah, I think around that. Yeah, usually around that one. So you know, it's fixed price, so you don't need to memorize, you don't need to count and so on. But the jeepney, you know, they have to memorize. So I looking, because I was so focused on the jeepney driver, so I got lost. I think that's one of the reasons. I was like, wow, this is kind of like, wow, there's so many things, you know. And then at the same time, like, wow, I'm kind of like, you know, transferring the money. But I'm thinking like, wow, you transfer the money. What about if you put the pocket like 10 pesos or something? You will not know that it's there again. Anyway, that's interesting thing that I felt about that one. But yeah, the you know, the one that I will never forget forever is like when someone say bayad po, I say like, why you give me money? I don't need your money. So I returned it. Why you give me money? I don't need your money. I say like, And then everybody was kind of like, wow. And look at everyone, I was like, what's wrong? Why everybody laugh? I was kind of anything wrong? I'm like, and now they just like, oh, okay, they know something is not right. Okay, anyway, that's the the first thing. Okay. Now, everyone, let me go to the next topic. Okay, I would like to share about something else a little bit different, and then yeah. Okay, this one. This is also a part of cognitive ergonomics. Hierarchical task analysis. Mau Gumasing, have you heard HTA?
No.
Maela, you still remember, right? HTA.
HTA? No.
No.
Go as well.
Okay, perhaps that time when you took my ergo, we just talk about so many. I'll say that not so difficult topic. Okay, HTA is very important, you know, in the cognitive ergonomics. Okay, STA is actually we would like to break down a certain task based on a certain hierarchy. Okay, because this is like a hierarchical task analysis. Right? For example, Saturday and Sunday, very simple. Okay, you go out, or you do assignments, or you do papers. Okay, and assignments, you know, you do assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3. Okay, so you basically like break it down, you know, into a certain hierarchy. For example, for me, okay, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. I'm so already like I don't even know, you know, even when you do the hierarchical task analysis, you know, like it's still too crazy. Okay, let me just give you a one example, and one actually the thing that actually I would like to do this kind of study. I hope like either one from, you know, one of you will like it. Actually, I'm doing it. Okay, it's very interesting research, but yeah, I hope one person will like to do that. Okay. This is one example, okay, of the hierarchical task analysis. Borrow a book from the library. You go to the library, you know, the thing that you need to do, you know, you find your required book, you retrieve from the shelf, okay, and take the book to the counter. It's very simple, right? But how you find a book, you go into another, you know what, access the catalog, access search screen, enter search criteria, you know, put the query, okay, identify required books and note location. And after that, after you take a note, then you go to this one, like you retrieve the book from the shelf and you go to the book counter. Okay, this is very one nice example of a hierarchy to do a certain task. But now doing this, what's the useful of doing something like this one? This is actually quite simple. If you okay, let me just give you one example of nice things that we need to do. This one. This is actually one interesting topic that I really want to do, but especially in you know what, in China, Taiwan, Philippines, Indonesia, you know what, this is the thing that I really would like to do. Frau. In here, there are so many. Actually, there are so many types of the fraud. Okay, the fraud can be like what? Can be intimidation fraud, can be a charity fraud. You know what? It can be I would say that how would say that call it how is that, like investment? How you call it? Advance fee, yeah. Advance fee fraud, you know, like when you invest something, they will double something and so on. There's so many types of the fraud. Okay, but I'm interested in one type of fraud. We call it the credit card fraud. Your credit card, you know what, your credit card fraud, you know. When I see the credit card fraud, when I watch the news, in my brain, suddenly I'm thinking about hierarchical task analysis. I'm thinking like, how person can steal and keep the money, I mean, steal the money, you know what, again and again. Then there must be, you know, I've learned about hierarchical task analysis before. Then I was thinking like, can we do that in the fraud? You know what, I tried it and it's actually quite powerful. You know what, if you do the hierarchical task analysis, especially for the prevention measures. Okay, and you can actually you know, draw what happened with the case. So here it is. I can actually that this is my secret ideas, like secret paper. I would like to say I haven't talked about this one even in other classes. Okay, usually the credit card fraud. Okay, I can say that there are three. I would like to say three styles or three categories, okay, of the credit card fraud. And how I came up with those three is actually from using the hierarchical task analysis. Look, everyone, okay, this is the victim, this is the fraudster. Later on, it's like 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is actually easy, okay? No, the victim and the fraud, okay? What are these? This is just the case number. I collected less than 50 cases, okay? I collected less than 50 cases from the online newspaper. So when there is a case about the fraud of the credit card, fraud about credit card, you know, and so on, you know, I collected, you know, one by one, the link one by one, and I really study. It's like a detective, you know, like really like Detective Conan, you know. I would like to say, what happened actually? Why is it like that one, and how it can happen again and again and again? Because actually, at the beginning, it was for protecting myself because I keep traveling for in several different countries, you know, in the past. But now we cannot travel. Okay, I mean, you can just be in one country. Okay, but now I can see some very interesting patterns, okay, that you see from those cases. Okay, so this is just the name of the case. Case number 2, case number 3, number 4, my own dummy code. Okay, this is just the name. Okay, the my own dummy code. Case number 6, case number 7, number 13, 14, 15, 16, and 22. This is actually just the case numbers. Okay, now do you know what the fraudster did when they wanted to, you know, do the credit card fraud? Okay, first, credit card or debit card. Okay, both. Okay, both, or like we call it like a yeah, just card fraud, you know, like your credit card or your debit card. Okay, do you know what the fraudster did at the beginning? They actually install, we call it skimmer skimmer in the ATM machine, you know. And usually, okay, it usually when you go to a small island or small ATM, you know, that's actually usually their main target. Okay, on this Sunday I will go to very small island. Okay, so you know what, I will not withdraw money there because I don't feel safe, because the local people, you know, 3 months ago I went to another little bit bigger island. It's actually big, quite big island, but it's quite a little bit isolated from Bali. You have to take another boat, 30 minutes. Okay, they told me, you know, the local people still found, you know, this case. Okay, this case about the debit card fraud. Okay, of course, you know, like uh, uh, you know, it's actually they got jailed for, I don't know, quite long, 20 years or so on, because this is actually very scary. You know, this kind of fraud is so scary. Okay, okay. The first, what do you know what they did in that island? They actually installed the skimmer. Okay, install the skimmer. Skimmer is like scanner. You know, scanner. Okay, but what is the, I would say that, what is the goal of the scanner? What's the goal of the scanner? Can you guess, Maela? What's the goal of the scanner?
To copy the ATMs,
Copy what?
what do you call that? Those codes.
What code?
I don't know
You never
what it's
withdraw money.
called. Yeah, the one with some figures in our ATM bank.
Ma'am Gumasing, can you guess? Skimmer for what?
The pin code?
No.
What skimmer?
Scan for what? Ma'am
Sorry?
Bores? Ma'am Bores, perhaps, can you guess?
Sorry, sir, if I'm not sure if it's right, but the put something on the keyboard with a mirror on top so they can actually see it from afar?
It's correct, but what they want to get? Yeah, it's correct. What you
The pin
say?
code, sir. The ATM pin code.
No, it's not the pin code, ma'am. It's the 12 digits number. The 12 digits.
Okay. All right, sir.
The number on the card?
Yes, the top.
For
Okay.
online transaction, sir.
Yes, not yet. Okay, no, we don't talk about that one yet. Okay, so they
I'm sorry.
actually okay. The schemer is actually for getting those 12 digits. Okay, those 12 digits. That's why when I would like to pay something, okay, you will see me like so cold. I would like to see this person. Like what you do with my card. I would like to see what the card like kind of I become so harsh. When I would like to pay something with my card, I just want to make sure everything there is actually clear. Okay, that's the first thing actually, because I'm afraid with the schemers. Now, although they have your 12 digits number, okay, although they have the 12 digits, okay, let's say the 12 digits of your card, but what they don't have, your password. They don't have your password. They don't know what's your password. So what they install, the next one is actually the answer, the pinhole camera. That's why when you go to a certain place, they will always say what? Cover it. Yeah, right? Cover your hand, and like when you input I would like to say cover your the input, the password, because it's actually like just in case they have a schemer, but they don't have the pinhole camera, so nothing they can do with your card if they don't have the password. But if they have both, you go to ATM, right? You withdraw money, right? Or you transfer money, right? Or you do a certain thing, right? You withdraw money and so on. Okay, when you go, you know what? And since you have the schemer and the pinhole camera, you know what? So what they can do? They can have still the card, and they have the pin number, and they copy the card and copy the pin number. So what will happen? They copy your card. Do you know what's your card? You can ask someone from electrical engineering. The card means nothing. I mean that card. You know what? People can easily. It's just simple. You can ask someone from electrical engineering. They know actually like those things. But what makes it different is actually like you put a chip right inside of that one. But the chip itself, you can copy. You can copy the number and so on. So that's why what. And then if you have the card and the pin, what you can do, all the things, they can withdraw money from everywhere. Not just withdraw money, what they can do, some cases they not just withdraw money, but some cases they also can transfer the money, and at the end we add it up with the victim lose the money. Okay, this is the first style of the credit card fraud. So why is it like this one? It goes to this one because for these cases they don't transfer the money, they just withdraw the money. So the scary part is something like this one. Okay, this is like a transnational, I would like to say, crime. Okay, for the fraud. For example, okay, you got the scheme, and then suddenly like they also got the password. Let's say in let's say where Quiapo, let's say, okay, then you lose your money in Argentina. Can you imagine? Can you imagine like you lose your money in Argentina, in Spain, in let's say where South Africa, because of what? Because it's a transnational. If they have if they have the schemer and the pinhole camera, that's so scary. This is actually quite happened in China. That some cases in China that people lose money suddenly, like when you got withdrawal, like usually your mobile phone got notification, right? How come they got notification in so far away in other city, like you never been to those cities, because of this. It's a transnational crime. Okay. Okay, that's the first type. This is actually the another type of the credit card fraud. The same, I used the same thing. I used hierarchical task analysis. Okay, but people usually like how's that? Some people they make it like the victim the victim lose money on the top like that one, and you break it out like that one. But for me, since I like the flow, like the OPC in when we study about methods, okay, about the work study, that's why I make it like, you know, I rotate that one. You know, some people they say like, hey Yogi, you know, you should make the victim lose, okay, on the top and so on. But I'm thinking, but I like the, you know, I like make it like OPC like this one. So I rotate, but the concept is just the same, like hierarchical task analysis. Okay, look at this one. The same thing, the victim and the fraudster. Okay, the fraudster, they copy the credit card. But how they copy the credit card is actually quite different from these things. Okay, some cases, okay, in here they use the schemer. Okay, but what's the difference with the previous one? Let me tell you after this. Some is actually got from the receipt. From this is actually happened in a coffee shop. Okay, the last one is the wow. I call it wow. Okay, this is actually from the memory. Okay, can you imagine like just using your memory? You know, your eyes is actually like camera, trained to be camera. So 12 digits using like 1 second, you kind of like see all, and you kind of memorize those all. Okay, not just about that, but in here, the difference between this one and the previous one, everything, you know, is actually here. They got pinhole camera for, I mean, for the getting the password, but for the next one, it's actually from memorizing. So when they give the machine in front of you, okay, you put the debit card or you put the credit card, okay, you input that, and you know what, the store lady try to memorize it. Like it's like try to memorize, like, because you know what, if there is a schemer there, they still don't know what's your password. Okay, they still don't know what's your password. Okay, and so on. Okay, and then they try to see like, oh, okay, so those are the, you know what, oh, those are the password. Okay, and by memorizing. Okay, but they don't have the capabilities usually. Okay, for these people, this person, okay, the fraudster, they don't have the capabilities like this one. This is actually quite scary when they actually can copy the card and the pin into, they have a machine. They have the machine. Okay, and then listen, look at this one. See, they actually, for this one, they only like a regular person, usually for these cases, like just regular person. So what they can do, they only can do for the online shopping usually. They only can do the online shopping. Okay, either they have because they have the receipt, they have the 12 digits, but they don't have the pin, or they don't have the three numbers on the back of your card. So how they got that is actually by memorizing. Okay, just by memorizing. So by memorizing that one, wow. But the scary one, there is one, it's actually quite wow. Actually memorizing the now 12 digits, including memorizing the pin. Wow, this person is so well trained. Okay, but even so, it's limited to just the online shopping usually for this one. Okay, when you have that one, you can buy ticket online and so on. But usually, okay, since one day we have the limit. How much is the limit for RCBC? For the transaction, 25, right?
No, for transaction in a day.
Yes.
For online, you can up to 50.
Oh,
Yeah, I
scary.
know. Yes, but for withdrawal through ATM, 20,000 only.
Okay, 20,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I have to.
Yeah, but online transaction up to 50.
Wow. Scary.
Yeah, scary. So you have to create multiple accounts, and you have to divide your money into several accounts.
Wow. That's scary. Yeah, actually, like wow. Okay, Maela, what can I ask Maela what bank you use? Oops, it's a secret.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I use video.
Okay, how much? Sorry. The limit for one day.
I think it's 50,000 as well. But the thing is, you can only choose 10,000 every transaction. So a maximum of 5 transactions per day.
No, but if you buy a ticket, 10,000, it's almost impossible if you buy ticket. Usually the flight ticket for, you know, for me, I went back from
That's
Dubai.
for withdrawal only.
Oh, that's for withdrawal only, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But okay, what for transaction in one day? 50.
Oh, but the total transaction is 50,000 as well.
Okay, that's a call, including the online, right? 50, right? Because
Yes.
10,000 is too small. I don't think it's possible. 10,000 for one transaction.
Only
You know
the
the
draw.
flight, the flight ticket. Before the pandemic, you know what? I bought the ticket in accident. When I was in Dubai, and it cost me 16,000 from Dubai to Jakarta, and it's 16,000. So if it's 10,000, it's too small. It's 16,000. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
quite emergency. That time I was like, and Emirates was full that time. Okay, and then Anthony, what pen you use?
Video, sir.
Oh, the same. Okay, so the same with that one. Okay, so anyway, this is actually you can tell people some of the the case using the hierarchical task analysis later on. But later on, you can use the CHAID even much better, so you can see later on. Even just the data, I would like to say, even just the norm, the case. You know what? That's why the thing that I like to do, try to make something qualitative into something quantitative, because engineer always show something quantitative, right? Because some people say like, oh, that's just the flow and so on. Hey, there is some quantitative part later on, okay? But some cases, okay, that I found in here, but there is no victim. This is just everyone is just really the fraudster, nothing to do with us. So, but this is actually quite scary. It's just all of a sudden that you just lose your money. Look at this one. Obtain personal data from hacking or bad employee. So hacking or the bad employee. So they actually try to, this is just nothing to do with you. Okay. Some okay, one case is actually goes to online shopping only. Some they just transfer the money. Some they copy the card and the pin card and they do withdraw money and they do online shopping at the same time. These three cases, they have they copy, they withdraw, they do online shopping, and after that losing the card. But this is actually nothing to do with you, okay, and so on. But another one is pretty scary. The one that I the one that's actually quite scary. Okay, in here, you know what? It's not just about the machine, but it's actually they make a fake ATM. Mga Gumasi, can you imagine there is a machine ATM? It's fake. It's fake. It's
Oh my
fake.
God.
It's like that's why when I read
Yeah.
when I read the case, I'm kind of like, oh my god, some people really do that. It's a fake ATM. For example, let's say like a BDO. It looks from outside it looks almost the same, but when you go inside, it's actually the fake ATM planned by the fraudster. But that one is actually quite crazy. Like you put and everything like a transaction failed or something, but that's why when I see transaction failed, I feel like ooh, you know what?
Yeah. So they're just copying your information.
And not just everything, they have everything. They don't even hold camera because they have this. You put the number right off. They have everything there. So yeah, that's another one. It's actually the fake ATM is quite scary.
Maybe there's someone inside the booth. The ones you enter your card, they will manually copy the codes.
Yeah, so that's actually like the thing that you can do with other this one. Okay, so basically let me show another one that's still connected with this one. Okay, perhaps that the thing that you can perhaps that's the thing that you like. Wait, in the past one student kind of like this topic, but when he knew that it's when he knew it's difficult, especially the dubbing. No, it's not difficult. I was like, when you have to read case by case, you know what? Not everyone likes doing that. For example, if you like to do SEM, okay, you just copy that one, run the model, do like so on. It's quick, But this one cannot be. This one you have to read the case by case and just like doing the acid analysis. Okay, week 7 we will study about the accident analysis. Okay, this is almost the same. Okay, with the accident analysis. Okay, so in here, okay, one of the most important things when you would like to make a flow, or if you would like to make a accident analysis, because let's say fraud is something like accident, right? I'm like, it's an accident. Okay, if you would like to conduct a study about that one, the first thing that you need to do is actually you will have to do the classification scheme. What I mean with the classification scheme, for example, like accident analysis, okay, male or female, how old, and how many years he or she is actually in that company, you know, the part of the body injured and so on, okay. But for the fraud, the same thing, okay. Deciding this, you know, deciding this is actually one big contribution. So later on, deciding this, you know what, the one, you know, deciding the how you what kind of things that you need to put in the classification scheme is already one big contribution. Okay. So I found these very important things. The first is actually source of the personal information. Okay. Source of the personal information. But oh, sorry, this is actually for general fraud. Okay. I later on, do I have time to, yeah, I think I can show you some of the other types of the fraud. Okay. So the one that I show you using hierarchical task analysis is actually the one with the hierarchical task analysis is actually the one for the credit card fraud, or we call it stolen identity fraud, or you know, yeah, like debit card, credit card, or like the stolen identity fraud. Okay, look at this one. The source of personal information is very important. Okay, the source of personal information is very important. This is actually like either from hacking, scheming actually like the schemer. Okay, the scanner, I would actually in the ATM machine. Okay, fake window, it can be like fake ATM. Okay, can be like fake for example that fake office. Okay, for example, it's actually the office is actually fake. Okay, from the what public website, from where Facebook, Instagram. Okay, or buy entry website, you know what, social media, or just from random numbers, you know, when someone send you email like, oh yeah, this is a free journal, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I have so many, you know what, for that one, you know what, random numbers, you know, they usually for the advance fee is actually quite common for the random numbers. Meet victim by chance, this is actually usually for the charity type and so on, you know. And bad employees, sometimes they actually like you know, they give personal information to, you know, to the syndicate of the fraud kit. And the final one, sometimes it's just unknown. Okay, and then the second is actually the type of communication. No communication, using message, using email, using what, online dating. Online dating, it means like this one, like Zoom, like this one. Okay, like Zoom, like this one. Okay, and then or a call, or a meetup, or call third party, or like, you know, and so on. The type of the communication is actually quite important. Anyway, this is not the final one. Okay, this is not the final one of the dummy code, you know, that I haven't finished this one. You know what, this point I just put what I've done so far, and this is actually like perhaps I can merge, for example, like a public website, and then a buy and trade website and social media. Perhaps I can merge into one, you know, so later on, let's see what will happen, you know. And then this one, for example, a message and email. Is it really that big difference, and so on. Okay, so this actually I just list all the things. And the type of the fraud, the one that I've mentioned before, is actually the stolen identity. It's actually the one that this is the term in common in criminology. So stolen identity, it's actually your identity being stolen, right? So without communication. Okay, no communication either from hacking or scheming. Okay, romance. Romance fraud, it's actually one very interesting romance fraud. Maela, can you guess? Romance fraud is kind of what kind of fraud?
Romance? Oh,
Yes.
maybe some dating apps.
Yes,
Maybe,
can be
yeah,
from
related to dating apps.
can be from dating apps, but not always from dating apps. Sometimes you meet up in person. It can be a meet up in person, can be the romance.
Mm,
Do you
okay.
know?
No, no idea for now.
Oh, usually you know what? Rich guy in the bar, and then
Okay.
the females kind of like, oh yeah, and then you know what? The way they ask the money, do you know how it's like? Oh, my father has you know, my father has a problem, blah 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 blah. I would be very happy if you can help me, and so on, blah blah. But because of the affection, you know what, they meet up and so on, the guy kind of like okay, just give it this one to you. And not just about that. Sometimes, you know what, in China, there is called like sperm donation.
Mm, But
You know what?
just with random people?
No, no. Oh yeah, just random people. Yeah, at the beginning, it was random. Yeah, that's why the source of personalization can be from where? From where? For example, you from dating app. Okay, can be
Mhm.
nowadays. Can be from dating app. And from the dating app, they do what? They do message and they do what? Online dating, right? They do like Zoom meetup and so on. Perhaps when they Zoom, for example, let's say like Maela, my sister kind of like have a blah blah blah, and so on, would you help, and so on, it's always like that, the romance route. It's always like that.
But I won't do that. I won't take the bait.
No, I mean, the way when you read, you know what, when
Yes.
you read, I like to read the newspaper. Actually, when I read that one, I'm kind of like, wow, interesting. The way they steal the money is actually like a I'm kind of like and so on, like
Yeah, I think it also happens at times.
yeah. So usually it's like that. Okay. And then
Mhm.
in China, that even sometimes, like very weird, like they call it like sperm donation. Like, my gosh, like selling this. Mom Gumasi, can you imagine that one? You know what? Mom was like, oh yeah, I will send it to you. And you send it. Really, that's really happened. Like when I read that one, I was like, oh wow. Okay, that's another type of the okay. But and then another one, advance fee, or like it's kind of like investment, investment fraud. Okay. Uh, hey, if you give me money, I will double it in 2 months or 3 months and so on, 4 months and so on. That's advance fee, type of the fraud. Okay. The last one is intimidation. It's very funny that that my neighbor next to my house, okay, got fraud by intimidation, but I still don't know. The fraud intimidation always like this one. Hey, your son got accident, you know what, and so on. Come on.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
it's
here in the
always like that.
Philippines the dugu-dugu gang.
Yeah. So intimidation, like,
Yeah,
your son got ill, blah blah blah, and so on. Come on, and usually from that one by what? By call, because the call is actually you kind of like there is a temporal demand, and then there's actually you kind of like and there is a time, always like that one. The intimidation is always about the time. Okay, there is a time constraint. It's like, hey, come on, we need your money, and so on, blah blah blah. Hey, my father, blah 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 blah. And then my neighbor's kind of like shocked, because she was cried and so on, like, oh, the son is got accident and got the okay, blah blah blah, the transfer error. So she transferred as soon as possible, and so on. Okay. And suddenly when she called that one again, and then disappeared, the number disappeared and so on. And then my mother kind of like what happened, asking what happened. And my mother was kind of like, oh my god, Yogi is doing fraud, and then the neighbor got the fraud. My parents kind of know I'm doing the proud things, because I always look at the newspaper and so on. And then yeah, it's the call by the intimidation. Okay. But that one, actually, the one that I couldn't answer, how actually the fraudster got the personal information of my neighbor's son, the son of my neighbor. It's actually, can you imagine, the fraudster knows how old he is, the full name, and then the phone number. I was like, wow, that's I don't know where someone got such information, like the number, the phone number, the name of the house, anyway, the name of the victim, and also, yeah, so on. So it's so funny, what, my neighbor went to the school of her son, and then and then the the son kind of like, oh, why you're here? Why you're here? It's like, why you're here? Anything wrong? So it's actually like because of the intimidation. Okay. And who deliver the money is actually quite different. Okay. From intimidation, usually the victim himself or herself send the money. But for stolen identity, it's actually usually the fraudster himself or herself. It's actually, steal the money. Okay, so who deliver the money is actually quite different. Okay, for some cases you can see. Okay, romance is usually the victim himself, and so intimidation, the victim himself, okay, give the money. But for the stolen identity, the fraudster, okay, actually stole the money. Okay, and the steal the money can be so many things. Okay, either withdraw money, transfer money, online shopping, or just get the cash. Property, prepaid card, okay, store shopping, and can be multiple. But this is still not finished, okay, because some is actually quite redundant, okay, for the dummy code, okay. So perhaps this I try to make it like a little bit better, okay, a little bit better, like scheming, hacking, bad employee, fake window, public website, agency, made up by chance, and so on, okay. And this is actually the type of communication, and the type of fraud can be just password fraud, okay, stolen identity, like a password fraud, stolen identity, cancel installment, and so on. But anyway, this is still not finished yet, so perhaps in different country, okay, perhaps you can find another different classification schemes. Now this is actually what I'm talking about. What is the CHAID? Okay, wait, let me just find a better one. The CHAID. This one. Let's talk about this one. Okay. Stolen identity. Let's say the one the one stolen identity. Okay. Stolen identity, then I use those classification scheme, and what will happen with this one. Okay, this is actually from the CHAID result. We can get this one from the SPSS. And how we can get this one? Again, if you would like to do something with accident analysis, or you always have to put the dummy code. So what case you always have to put these things. Okay, one case you have to put this information, but putting this information is actually the difficult part. It's actually you have to define it quite clear. What do you want to code in that? In that case. Okay, it's actually quite difficult for doing this study. And for stolen identity, I realized that not all is actually no communication. Some actually some you can have a communication, either the call or either the message. Okay, either the call or either the message. The one that I got the call, the one that I got a call is so funny. You know what? That this is actually the green card by US. Okay, US green card. The fraudster called the victim and asked, the number of the credit card as a requirement of the, as the requirement of the getting the green card, as the requirement for getting the green card. So he or she will ask the card number, including the password, and so on. This is like, oh, that's the requirement from, that's the requirement from the, and so on. So of course when you get that one, you can hack all your information of your you can download your app, right, mobile app, and you have the username and the password and so on, and of course they just transfer transfer by fraudster and so on. So anyway, you can set something like this one, okay, for the CHAID later on. If you really define those things, for example, the type of the fraud, type of communication, source of personal information, and how to steal the money. So later on, the CHAID, they will show certain pattern, and later on from the certain pattern you can break it down into hierarchical task analysis. For example, okay, this one, the stolen identity, for the one that has no communication, okay, in here, I would like to break it down into the hierarchical task analysis, like the one that you can see, type 1, type 2, or type 3, okay, and how to prevent that one by one, okay. So for one type of fraud like this one, you can see some kind of like prevention measures, okay. Why we make this one is actually just to see the prevention measures, okay. Okay, for the probability, okay, for example, this is 38, 35, 1, 2, and how, split 1, 1, and this 35, it goes only 1 in here, this one I break it down with the hierarchical task analysis, because when you see 35 is so big, perhaps you would like to see what is actually the real pattern and so on. So basically, that's the thing that we can do using the hierarchical task analysis combined with the CHAID. Okay, this one is actually the CHAID. Ma'am Gumasing, the one that you use the CHAID, what you do?
What CHID? I
CH,
haven't used I haven't used that yet.
this one. CHAID. No, not
No,
yet.
I haven't used that yet. I just encountered that in your paper. I think
What paper?
you
What
had
paper?
you have a paper with uh I think you submitted a paper using this.
Really?
Because
I
it's the
forget.
only because it's the first time that I encountered the term, the CHAID. I don't know if it's a journal paper or thesis paper for your student.
Okay, I forget where that one. Okay. Anyway, this one. For example, let's say, see, intimidation. Intimidation. You know, look at that one. AT is actually call, and call sometimes call and meet up. Can you imagine? You know, usually intimidation is what? Call, and only few is actually just meet up. Sorry, by message or by message and call. But call is actually one key, okay, for the intimidation. Don't you know that so many fraudster get caught in the Philippines? Actually, they are from everywhere, from China, from South Korea, and so on. You know, when you see the immigration, you know, they always show that you know, some people got caught and so on because of what? This one, intimidation, intimidation fraud. So usually the victim is actually still in China, but the fraudster is in the Philippines, but they do call, you know what, for the intimidation fraud. So this is some parts that you can see that the pattern. Okay, just really see the pattern. But in here, very sad that I don't know where is the actually the source of the personal information. But some you can see actually from the social media. They actually stole the personal information from social media. They did the intimidation fraud, and then actually that the victims, you know, it's always transfer by victim. Look at that one, transfer by victim. Sometimes go cash. The victim just gives the cash to the fraudster. It's so stupid, like that one, you know. But anyway, in general, it's actually just transferred by the victim for the intimidation fraud, and so on. So basically, like doing something like this, we can see some kind of like a general pattern. Okay, the pattern analysis. When you do acid analysis, it's always some kind of the pattern and always about the prevention measures. Okay, so yep. Okay, now Gumasing, do you want to do this? No, really. Or no?
No, I'm not interested. It's kind of complicated.
No,
I think it's hard to gather data.
no, you have to read the newspaper one by one. For example, you have to find a case one by one.
Yeah.
You have
It's
to
very
find a
time
case.
consuming.
Yeah, yeah. You have to case by the case one by one. Or the best one is like if you have the access to the police and if you see that one, you can actually like see. But anyway, I don't know. Usually, when I was in Taiwan, it was so complete. Okay, the case. But when I'm in here, every time when I would like to ask that data to the police, like they make it secret, you know, like and so on, blah blah blah. And sometimes like, oh, can I just buy that one, your database? You know, I can pay money for that one. I mean, not just I mean, not the political way. I would say I need that I would like to do some kind of research and so on, but still difficult for me for getting that one. So at this point, the one that I can do is just about the how you say that. The one I can do about this one is just by gathering the data online for that one. But anyway, doing the CHAID, the good part, you know what, we can do some kind of like this one. Let me show you one thing. Okay. Later on, we can see this is actually a pattern. Okay, one study that utilized the CHAID for actually like classifying the pattern, how people got electrocution, how people die. I would like to say how people die, got electrocution. Okay, and then reading this, you know, it's actually done by Dr. Chi, my advisor, okay, my master degrees advisor. Okay, you know what? When you read the case one by one, it's so scary. You know, like you read that case. So we have 96 plus 55 plus 99. So you know, in general, you know what, we can make make the classification scheme at the beginning, like electrical source, type of the contact, source of injury, and also cases of the accident. So later on, for the electric source, there are three. Basically, you can classify either from the power line, energized equipment, or damaged and improper installed equipment. And in here, the type of contact can be direct and can be indirect or just the conductive. You can select direct contact, okay, through vehicle, through conductive material, direct through conductive material, direct through conductive material. So you can later on to classify into this one. And then later on, you can have, for example, if the power line, it's just very obvious. Like for example, power line on, you direct contact, yeah, of course you die, and so on. But can be like power line, and conductive material. What kind of materials? The source of the materials. For example, metal bar or pipeline. You die, and then and so on. So basically, you know what? All the electrocution, as electrocution type, can be classified into this one, into the CHAID. Okay, something like this one. But anyway, I'll train one by one, one by one. Okay, I'll like to show all of you 2 weeks after 2 weeks from now, especially how we do the CHAID and how we're going to do the accident analysis. But I don't know whether anyone in here likes to. Ma'am Gubasing, will you like to read all the death case for me?
No thanks. No, thank you.
It's like, the body turned into black and so you will read something like that one, Ma'am Boris, you interested in this topic? If you have the data, if I have the data, will you do this topic? Ma'am Boris, no, not really.
Sorry, sir. I don't think I can do that, sir.
Okay.
Right now,
Maela,
sir.
Maela, you want to try? If you have a chance.
If the
Not really.
topic is too gruesome, like
Okay.
something related to mortality, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But Anthony, your MS thesis is something close to this one, but it's not about accident. It's just you predict something. Okay. If I force you to do something like this one, is it okay for you to make it like continue the study into up to this one? Because you have the classification scheme already, but it's different, the classification scheme with this one, because classification scheme usually is actually before the accident you classify it, but for you it's quite different. It's about the, how is it, that near miss event. Near miss event is something you predict in the future. How can you make it like this one? But Anthony, do you have something in your mind to make it something like this one for the near miss event?
I don't know, sir. But if I have a data, sir, I want to do this.
Yes, actually, like for the near miss event, that can, I don't know whether we can do that or not. But anyway, it seems like nobody is interested in this kind of topic. Why is that, Ma'am Gumas?
It's too morbid.
I mean, the same thing with last year. You know what, Ma'am? I explained this one. You know what? And then nobody liked. Actually, only one liked. But after he tried, reading the case, he gave up. Really? Why is that one? You really don't want to accident analysis?
For me, it's too morbid.
Really? Okay. But for example, let me show you one thing. Okay, if we don't worry, if no one is interested in this topic, then perhaps 2 weeks later, I'll try to find something else, a little bit I would say that suitable for everybody's I would like to say you can. Okay, let me show that one. Wait.
Doc Yogi, but what is the minimum number of newspapers that you should read?
You mean the case, right? Not the newspaper. You mean
Yes,
how
the
many cases,
cases.
right? How many cases? Okay. So it really depends, Maela. Usually, okay, for the study utilized for that one, I don't know. Usually 200 data is good enough. Depends, Depends. The most important, you develop the framework is for what? Why you need to develop this one? Because you need to cover all the possible things, right? Yeah, right. If you have 50, but it's already, let's say 55, it already cover all the possible things, then that's good. Okay. When you try to add one new case, two new cases, three new cases, actually nothing is new. Nothing is new. Everything in here is actually quite fixed, and that's the time when you feel like, oh yeah, that's already almost everything that cover almost all the things. You can actually try to positive, like that's actually the the thing. Okay, will you try? What about fraud? You want to try? I don't know, next year perhaps, if you have time. If you have time,
Yeah, well,
but you have to
I
read
was
what case by case, all the cases in the Philippines. For example, like someone got let me show you one example. Okay. Let's go back again. Let me show you the database after this one, after I show this one. Okay, for example, Mom Gumasing, you like to read this one? Victim was operating the machine and she was
Oh
noticed
my
that
God. I have examples like that in my Bosch. Yeah, it's very
and then
detailed.
will you try to
No, I can't imagine.
but
I
this is still
don't want to imagine.
but this is still not death case, but sometimes what, when the death case, like, oh, I even imagine like that time, oh my God,
Yeah.
like that time, what. But this is like dummy coding, what? Dummy coding is like this one, dummy coding one by one. Like, this is actually the nominal and nominal part, The same thing, if you would like to do CHAID, what, and so you have to do it case by case like this one, reading like the case by case like this one. But Maela, will you try to the fraud?
I was
let me
actually thinking if
let
the
me show
text
you.
mining, yeah, I think the text mining would be feasible for the one you presented
What?
earlier.
What do you mean the text mining? The
Mm, the other framework you've mentioned earlier regarding the power line and others, I forgot the other factors.
again.
Oh, because you will read the cases from the newspaper. So I was just thinking if we could also utilize text mining instead of
Oh, that's
reading
another one.
each
That
yes. But it would require expert skills in coding.
yes.
Mhm.
For example, okay. For example, you will read something like let me show you. Let me show you one. Wait. Let me show you one full case. One full case. Where's that one? This one. You have to read like case by case. The fraud occurred in Indonesia. The suspect of 5 people. Blah blah blah. You have to read like case by case like this one, and you do the dummy code. The suspect reported promised the victim 10% of the sum once the money reached Jakarta safely. So what's that one? This is the advance fee, right? And this one. Housewife in London. Okay, posing as an airport customs officers, this suspect, blah 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 blah. Several bank transferred to several blah blah blah. As she may transfer. So what's that mean? Yeah, this is like advance fee, right? They put the advance fee and how is going to the victim just the transfer by I say give the money by himself to the fraudster and then the fraudster just get the transfer. Okay, is there for example like let me show you one. This one. Fraudster syndicate named this one, who together with members hiding in mainland China, sitting a scams room in Xiamen, Fujian area. Okay, blah 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 blah. When the victim get emotionally involved, look at that one. With an approach of guess who, non-specific, make a call, chatting to the victims of Taiwan to take advantage of blah 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 blah, and then need for living expenses and so on. In the account of the exchange of duplicates of undergo waste, the Mr. Stolen will remitted to mainland China. You have if you do some kind of acid analysis, again, you have to read this one by one, like this one. This fraud occurred in blah blah blah. Okay, both defendant admitted. Okay, this one. Police earlier said data capturing device known as skimmers had been put in the. I will go to this place. Where is this one? Oh, 2010. Okay, so I will just withdraw the money in Java. I'm kind of afraid. Okay, the devices record all the coded information from it. Okay, they've got information is blah blah blah. Both recorded PIN. See, with clone card and PIN, the thieves were able to withdraw money from the victim's account or transfer it in notification of blah 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 Peter Petroleum. So what's that mean? They copy it.
Yeah, they copied.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
do you like to try to do something like not really?
It's time consuming, I think.
Yes, rather than SEM, this one is more, I would like to say the difficulty is like a little bit different because it's even for constructing that one, like that one for me, I've done that one. Do you know, Ma'am Gumasing, how long? I tried to that one. It has been 3 years and I still cannot finish it.
Wow, 3 years.
No, just because I shift to other topics, like not because I really put on that one, It's been that one 3 years ago and I left it. I left the topic because I felt like the other topics are more interesting. But I'm just going to share to everyone that, hey, you know what? In Ergo, we also can do some kind of like this kind of analysis. Look at that one, the accident analysis that done by my professor that belongs to macroergonomics. But you can see the pattern is actually quite obvious in the someone who got electrocution. But the process, okay, the process of doing that, it's like the same, like the process like doing the fraud. Okay, almost the same with someone, with doing fraud. So you read case by case, as you see, what I meant with, let's say 18, 16, it's actually like this one. This is like the case. And I try to draw the flow by using the hierarchical task analysis. And let's see what's happening, try to make it like that one. I haven't talked about the probability. It's just the flow. But it seems that nobody interested. Mom Boris, you're not interested? No, at all. Because, yeah, I mean, last year, I would like to say, even one ergo faculty, and he said like, oh my god, sir, you really make the definition of ergo in a different level with what I know. He told me like that because ergo is so big. And then he said like, no, I know which one I like, which one I don't like. He's a faculty in USD, so he told me like that one because the ergo can be so broad, and he told me I don't like this type because, you know, well, yeah, it's just like that. Ooh, it's already late. Okay, let me just stop the recording.